just wanted to give a little bit of clarification about who Justin Crawford was, and Birdman, as he was also known as. When I left Creative Images, which is the first place that I pierced at, I opened up the first physical location of the Axiom that was by itself. I hired a tattoo artist who was involved for about the first 5 or 6 months, and then kind of didn't work out, basically. Birdman, I'd met about a year before that when he was working at a studio up in Ames, Iowa, and he really wasn't happy with the situation that he was in and the people that he was working with. He hit me up for a job. The other guy left. Perfect opportunity, brought him in, and we hit it off right off from the very start. He was part of kind of that early stages of starting out and figuring out how to do things on my own, and we had kind of a tight-knit little group or crew then between my apprentice and the people that had kind of entered my life and became lifelong friends. The people from Slipknot, Paul, Lanny, Frank, Plumley, a bunch of other people kind of became kind of this crew that we would hang out at the shop on the weekends. And of course, I pierced all of them. And Justin did various different tattoos. So move ahead. He'd been with me for about 8 months. He started to get sick. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And I left, went down to Lawrence, Kansas to visit a friend. And on the way back, got a phone call called in to check in. And my apprentice at the time, Diane, was crying, and I couldn't figure out why, and found out that he had passed away. He had an aneurysm, basically. A blood clot traveled up into his lungs. He'd been to the hospital. They didn't do a blood gas. That's a whole other thing. But it was kind of a very tragic kind of situation. He was only 23 years old. He had just started to kind of develop as an artist. So this particular piece is a tribute to him to a large degree, of the influence he had in my life and being there and part of that very important step during my career as an artist, as a piercer, and as a person. And I wish he was here today to see it, because he'd be really, really happy with the results. So that's a little bit about Birdman and why this tattoo is kind of important.